It is housekeeping Alton Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Welcome, guys. We are ready to do this, and as always, we want to let you guys know we are sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour. Check them out at the AmeriKick Nighttime Finals, August 21st. This is going to be their first show they're going to do at a nighttime show, so it's going to be exciting. So it's another big step for Virtual Fight Tour as we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of their show. So thanks Jesse Ray and Virtual Fight Tour for sponsoring us.
Exactly.
And we got
to see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So we got another exciting guest. This is her second time on our show, and we have the great Olympic gold medalist, Arlene Limas. Thank you so much for joining us. As man, you've been like you said, everybody's hitting you up, and the buzz has been Arlene Limas, right?
You are the most popular person in Taekwondo right now.
You think? I don't know. I mean, I hope that.
Anastasia.
And Anna Zolotek is the most popular person in USA Taekwondo right now. I mean, she did it. She did it, and we're just really super proud of her. And I've said in the past on other kind of posts and things, I've 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, she was at camps or we were doing exchanges. Her coach and I, or her home coach and I are good friends, Dennis White. So yeah, we've kind of watched her grow. I've kind of watched her grow, and to like that kind of awkward teenager to just like, bam, coming into her power as an adult. So yeah, it's really nice to see.
So, well, you just answered a question I was going to ask, which is how familiar are you with her training and involved with that? So it sounds like you're pretty familiar with it, or at least kind of where she's come from.
Yeah. She came from a really solid home coach program in Florida with Coach White. And he has a nice stable of predominantly female fighters. He just does really well. His daughter is one of them. Does really well with a teenage age group of girls, and then kind of handed Anastasia off to the residency program when they brought in the Great Britain coaches. When they started that like living their full-time programs, Anna was passed off over there, and she just blossomed. In addition to growing and getting stronger at that 17, 18-year-old age. Yeah.
Awesome.
So she's 18 right now, correct?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. So, I mean, it seems like, she's got the Taekwondo world ahead of her. I mean, she could end up doing something like a Steven Lopez and getting multiple gold medals.
Right.
Do you think
I saw in an interview, that's what she was thinking. That's her goal, like four gold medals, Wouldn't that be incredible?
That would be incredible. Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, that's totally possible.
Right.
In the fighting game now, and tell me what you think, Arlene. It really kind of seems like people start to hit their peak around their early to mid 30s. What do you think?
Well, I would have said that before. I would have said that, in the 80s and 90s, that you could be a little older and still have a lot of success. But with the new game and really height even being more important than ever, so being the tallest person with long legs, because it's really a touch game now, it's more difficult to fight into the 30s. So I don't know. I don't see another Steven Lopez happening. Someone to maintain high level excellence, even though that's the last time I'm going to say his name. But I just don't see anyone like that. having as much success.
So for those who don't know, that person won 3 gold medals at 3 straight Olympics. Right.
Yeah. Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, that's an amazing feat, but now she's her own person. And there's been a lot of hot topic people saying, oh, she's the first female gold medal winner in U.S. Taekwondo history. And we say, hang on a minute. I'm old enough to remember Seoul, Korea.
Right.
In 1988, where Arlene Limas won the gold medal.
Right.
But they call it a demonstration sport. But now, correct. Tell me how it really went down, because and for all the listeners, all the insiders, go back, listen to the original interview that Jeff and I had with Arlene, because it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
Right? And the way that you spelled out like your road to getting to the Olympics and really all the roadblocks ahead, it was absolutely phenomenal. But so, tell me a little bit about. Now I'm stumbling over what I wanted to say here.
Well, first, just let me say this. It has been so awesome. Everybody's out there like, no, Arlene's the first. Arlene's the first. No, don't say it. I'm going to call NBC. I'm going to call the local affiliate. I'm going to call Center Martial Arts. I mean, it's been awesome. It's really made me feel good. I don't need that, but just knowing that those guys, like, everybody's so pumped up, like, no, Arlene is first. It's cool. It's cool. But the truth of the matter is, Anastasia is the first official female to win a gold medal for the United States. I mean, that's it. It's a shame that it took 30 plus years to get there after us receiving our official sports status, but it did. But we've got it. We've crossed that hurdle now. We have a gold medal for USA, which we haven't had in quite a while, and it's definitely something to be celebrated.
Yeah, either way, no matter what, official or demo, it's still a big story, right? Like, it's still a huge accomplishment. Even if, say, yours was official, they should still tell that story that it wasn't a medal since '88, And I mean, no matter what, that's the big gap, no matter what. So,
I think it could have been handled differently. I think it could have been handled in a way that it gave respect or acknowledgement to that group in '88 and even in '92, that did what they were supposed to do while we were a demonstration sport, so that it became an official sport in 2000. Because without us doing what we do in '88 and '92, it's become an official sport in 2000. Now,
wait a minute. Are you saying it wasn't an official sport until 2000?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was out of '96. So we were demonstration '88, demonstration '92, sat out '96, and then was brought back as an official sport in 2000.
2000, yeah. Wow.
And at the time, that's kind of the process that you had to. Those hurdles are the ones you had to jump to become an official sport. Now that's not how it is. Now you can come in for 1 games and then just disappear. Like the fear for karate is that. That this might be it. I mean, I hope that's not the case. But we had a sequence of events that we knew we had to get through, '88, '82, and then hopefully we've proven that Taekwondo is practiced around the world and there's some parity. Smaller countries are winning. All those things we had to prove to become an official. It's not like that anymore.
Right.
But if I could say something, if I could clear something up, okay. Demonstration sport status doesn't mean that the competition level was a demonstration. Like you and I go out and fight. You and I go out and fight a demonstration fight. No, that's not what it was. I mean, all the world champions were there. All the World Cup medalists were there. So I mean, I fought the current world champion in my weight division. It wasn't. So for people, I think when they hear demonstration, that's kind of what gets them thrown off. But no, demonstration we were the top of the top at that time. Were there. World champions were there. So it was a competitive event. But at the time, Korea dominated. So the Olympic Committee needed to see that more countries could win than just Korea for it to become official.
Well, that's fantastic. So I didn't even think about that. So that means Herb Perez's gold medal is technically on a demonstration status as well.
Yeah. And all that meant is our medals didn't count for the country points. So Stephen's medals and Anastasia's medals, they've counted to that tally for the whole Olympic Games.
Okay.
Got it. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for clearing all that up. And again, like Mike Pombero said, it was cool that you put out a statement after it happened, and just class act as always. And again, like you're involved in, the Taekwondo scene, and you, like you said, you're a part of this. You're cheering them on. You're excited about it.
Yes.
And it's exciting that it's in the Olympics every time, I mean, and I think all of us should be excited about it. It is cool that the Taekwondo kind of kicked off the Olympics, right? One of the first events. Karate isn't until next week. So it's really cool to see as well. The other thing, again, I think you cleared it up as well. Some people were saying, okay, does that mean karate is a demonstration sport? It doesn't work that way no more.
Right.
We had Ariel Torres, who is going to be doing men's kata. We had him on the show, 3 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah.
They actually didn't leave until after the opening ceremony. I think it was like the next day.
Yeah.
And they aren't in, they're in Koga. I think it's called Koga City right now, training. So they're not in they're not in the Olympic City right now. They're outside training and stuff. So it's really cool.
This experience for these athletes is completely different, but I'm sure it's still incredible. I'm sure it's still incredible. I'm so excited for the karate movement.
Yeah. So what would you say? What is your advice to like someone like him in his first Olympics?
One, enjoy every moment. Take it every moment, and I'm sure that he's prepared. So just do it. Just do it. Leave it all on the mat. Give it everything that you have, and then enjoy everything else.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I think there's 4 Americans there. So 2 for kata, like a female kata and a male kata.
I thought 2 and 2. Yeah.
And then 2 male. I think it was male kumite. I thought.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that we qualified a female fighter.
No, I didn't see that either.
I don't think.
Now, how many were there for Taekwondo? Was it just Anastasia?
We had 2 female fighters qualify. Paige McPherson. This was her 3rd Olympic Games.
Yes.
It would have been awesome if she could have grabbed a medal. But she's a medalist from prior Olympics, and this was her 3rd trip back to the Olympics. So, I know people get really impressed by the medals, but to me, to sustain that high level, to make 3 Olympic teams, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, to hit it and come back, because you're probably training for 3 years at peak level before you hit your first Olympics. So now you've got 4 more years. So doing 2 in a row, I mean, that's amazing. To do 3, there just aren't that many people that can pull an athletic event off like that.
Yeah, keep that. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And we've had a lot of change in the United States. So we have kind of had a couple coaches that led the program for 10 years, and then it was one coach for one quadrennium, and now we have the GB coaches, the Great Britain coaches that have come in and taken the helm. So I think there's going to be, we're just starting to get out of that transition period. So I anticipate that I think the athletes under a real structured program, which they're under right now, I think the U.S. is going to do well.
Awesome.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about that, because Mike P, he kind of mentioned that in the comments here, and he says that it does look a little different as years passed. And I assume he's referring to the fighting. So I did get a chance to fight in Olympic style Taekwondo tournaments a couple times before, and just thought, you know what, I'll just go off the talent of my kicking. And in my mind, I thought, I'm a good kicker, and I got through through 2 rounds, and then I squeaked past this 1 round, and then I got absolutely destroyed by a guy who, I swear, he obviously was kicking with both legs. At a few points, he's horizontal, right? And it's right at my face. You're right on. You're right on. So and I think this, and I'm curious as to what you think. The athleticism, not even that long ago. If you just go back to like 2008 Olympics, maybe 2004. I mean,
yeah. So
it's
I don't know if we went
absolutely
through,
intense.
Yeah. I don't know if we went through this in our last.
We
show,
talked a little bit about it.
Right. So we have this. We have a really. I think it was a huge problem for the athletes in the reffing, and it seemed very partial. I mean, it was even said that countries could buy certain refs. I mean, it was not good. It wasn't good.
Right.
Okay. So they came up with the electronic scoring to try to eliminate that type of cheating. Okay. And so now you've got this chest guard, and oh wow, front leg side kick, which never would have scored, is now going boop, boop. Okay. And then they say, oh, we're going to make, censored headgears. So when you think about all the concussion protocols now, you can't set the headgear on really hard to score and have people just killing each other. So you have to have just touch. So you're getting all these little touches. So the athletes have adapted their game to the scoring system.
Correct.
And so it's not worth the risk to do those doubles and triples and, all the stuff that made Taekwondo so fun to watch, Olympic Taekwondo so fun to watch.
I know, and to participate in.
You can't risk it. You can't risk it.
Right.
Even they're given 5 points for spins to the head, and it's not worth the risk.
People don't want to do it.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I think my gut tells me. Have you ever seen that Armor 2020?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Chess cards.
Yeah.
That's more like a video game, right? So you power up, I power up, and we're banging. I see your power line come down. You hit me, my power line comes down. That may be a way. That may be a way to, some people say it's going to save our sport. It might, because it'll definitely encourage a lot more fight.
Yeah, I've seen it at several business events, martial arts business events and stuff, and they've had it and tried it out at their vendor booth. And yeah, I mean, I like the concept. To me makes more sense, right? And it's just it could push it forward instead of where right now it's kind of stagnant, right?
Right.
And
it's the version that they're using now, that's more like a studio, a school version. They would have to pump up with an elite level chess card, but I know that's in the works. So and I know that there are also other companies working on something similar. And I've heard already that Korea is training with that chess guard already. So I would not be really surprised if the rules all changed and we'd be using this new chess cards after Koreans already, trained with them for quite a while.
Correct. Wow. Hey, so Mike has a good question too, a fun one. Did Arlene get to meet or snap any pics of any other sports athletes she looks up to when you were at the '88 Olympics?
That's a fantastic question.
Oh man, it was awesome. So there was one event that I was invited to after I won called Xerox Breakfast of Champions. No one probably knows what Xerox is, but Xerox used to be like the Apple in the 70s and 80s. So the Xerox Breakfast of Champions, and like Carl Lewis was there. He was one of my favorites. All the gymnasts, and when I mean gymnasts, not only the U.S. gymnasts, but like the Romanian gymnasts.
Wow.
Greg Louganis, really was happy to meet him. Ray Mercer, one of the boxers at the time who won a gold medal. It was just really neat.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was just really cool. You get to interact with all those athletes.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so I'm gonna touch the topic, and we're not gonna go one way or the other. It's a hot topic today. So, everyone's talking about Simone Biles and stuff, right? So, let's just go into what is that? Just the mindset of just the stress of even being in the Olympics, right? The pressure. And again,
Thanks,
what
Andrew.
that is, I mean, again, from the stage of training and getting prepared, the qualifications, and the pressure when you get there.
I mean, when you're at that high level, of course, the pressure is intense. I don't think it's the competitive pressure that's getting to Simone Biles. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's that. I think what happens, and I would say it happened to me, and I was never ever at this level that Simone Biles is at, or someone like a Michael Jordan, or someone, that's really at the top of their game, and like the GOAT, as they say about Simone Biles. But I think all the outside noise just robs you of the fun that you're having in your sport and in your game. And, that really makes me sad for her, because a couple years after I retired, I just wanted to go fight in a local tournament because I missed fighting.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Like the ref was like videoing me while he was reffing. And I mean, it wasn't fun, even though I wanted so much, just let me go back and fight some point. Let me back for somebody, I just, and when you get to a certain point, you don't get that luxury anymore. And my gut tells me that's contributing a little bit to where Simone Biles is at, is that they're just not allowing her to have fun,
Right.
And, this games, I can't imagine, especially in a sport like gymnastics, where you really feed off the crowd, right? You do something. It's
that's right too.
And then you kind of do something, and the crowd comes out, really, really pumps you up. To not get that type of feedback, it must seem strange.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And that feedback is what gets you out of that crap that's going on in your head. That kind of disguises everybody. Oh, okay, all right. It gets rid of that. And so without that, all you hear is yourself.
Right. Exactly.
Well, that and being pedestalized like that, it's just like you can't make a right decision, because it seems, and let's just clear this up, because I want to understand. She felt like she had a little bit of an injury, right? Do I have that right? She had like a little bit of an injury, and then was feeling a little pressure about me. I'm too nervous, kind of thing. So what am I getting wrong?
Well, I don't know.
I think it was. I mean, I think the things that I've read, it's just she didn't feel she was at a good mental. Her headspace was not correct.
Right. Yeah.
And when you're doing the type of stuff that she does in the air, you have to be in the right headspace.
Yeah, you die.
I mean,
yeah, correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's like going in. It would be like going into a full contact match and you're not really ready for it. You're going to take some shots, and that's not going to be good.
Correct.
This would typically be like the pod where people tell you, you know what, you got to sacrifice, you got to do whatever it is that you can. I am a little bit different, and I'll say, listen, this is your life.
Right.
It's going to exist well beyond gymnastics.
I think it's a really strange time, especially in the Olympic world, that we've had this weird power dynamic where coaches and administrators have just told athletes, this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing. And we found out that a lot of bad stuff happened.
Yeah.
And no one listened, and no one really cared about the athletes. And this is one of those sports where it happened. So if an athlete wants to step up now and say, hey, no, I'm not doing something, then we got to let them do that. We got to let them do that. I don't know what your relationship is with your athletes or with your coaches, but I make it perfectly clear. If you guys say you're done, I got to believe you. I've got to believe you. If we're in the ring and something happens and you say, hey, I can't, then I got to believe you. This isn't a drama thing. This isn't an attention thing. If you tell me you're done, I believe you. That's the relationship I got to have with my coach, with my athlete and my coach when I was competing.
Yeah. But, and especially at that high level. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they've already done the sacrifice and everything that most people wouldn't even do to get there, right? So their pain tolerance, their challenge, all of that is at a higher level than anyone's. So when enough is enough, it's enough. So
listen, I'm okay with a lot going into the locker room and like cutting off his finger and cauterizing it so he could go back out and play football. That's his decision. Okay.
Right.
And I'm completely okay with Simone Biles saying, you know what, I have to withdraw. That's their decision. Both of those decisions.
Yep. Wow.
Simone's gonna have all her digits later.
Yeah.
What was that? Yes.
Simone's gonna have all her digits later. So, all right. I want to mention just back quickly to Taekwondo because I do have a question. So we talked a little bit about the scoring. We talked about, what could be coming up. And I loved so much the scoring of, the yesteryears. And you got the judge and he's got the blue button. He's got the red button. Do you ever see a point where we go back to that? Do you ever see that happening?
No.
Wow, that's disappointing. Don't you feel like that's a little disappointing? Do you? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. If you lost a match because you got kicked in your leg or kicked in your butt, you'd want better scoring.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you lost a major match because you got, kicked, you blocked, you got kicked in the arm, you want better scoring. So, I mean, the chest guards have a lot of value. They really do. I think if we could blend the chest guards a little bit to lean towards that style of the Armor 2020, where, we could set it up where multiple shots in a short period of time generate more points.
Where the harder shots
things we can do.
Count more. Yeah.
The other question I had was, do you see the Hogu itself, because it is so big, do you see that ever coming down in size?
No, I don't. I mean, the chest guard I wore was like this big. It barely covered anything. But no, I don't see that changing.
Wow.
Because
that was something I thought about because go ahead.
I mean, I just think everything is falling first on safety of the athlete. So, I don't think they're going to take out padding or make it smaller, or I just don't see that happening. And I don't think it should. I think there's a way we can make the game more exciting. And I don't think it's by adding more points to techniques.
No.
I think,
they found a way around it.
Yeah. I mean, just, allow pushing, allow grabbing, allow those things. If you're going to just let the sensors go, then you could do things, to make it a little more exciting.
Awesome. Yeah.
So as an outsider, Taekwondo is a fantastic sport, and it's great for the participants. I mean, it's phenomenal. And Taekwondo, and correct me if I'm wrong, might be the most practiced sport in the world outside of soccer. Is that right?
It's the most martial art. Well, it's the most widely practiced martial arts for sure. I don't know about that other one.
Yeah, I thought I had heard that, but it was the second outside of soccer.
Wow.
Football, which I'm over there.
I know, like in a country like Mexico, it's the second most participated in sport.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. And I know they've had their world championships there several times.
Yep. World champs been held in Mexico.
Do you ever see the Pumse getting involved somehow? Yeah.
I mean, there's a big push. There's a big push for Pumse to be sport Pumse to be included. I think it's going to be tough, especially after people aren't going to like this, but I think it's going to be tough after we see karate's competition in kata, because it's just so much stronger than Taekwondo sport Pumse. So I don't know. In a perfect world, like if you would have talked to me, right after the Olympics, probably 30 years ago, I would have said, I would love to see Taekwondo like a rotation, like gymnastics, like sparring, board breaking,
agreed,
compulsory forms, creative forms, and then maybe even, like a jump kicking contest, like a flying kick contest or something. But
they have all that.
Rotation. Yes. It's exciting, and it would be, to me, much more spectator friendly. Like my grandmother would have watched a rotation like that. Sparring, she watched because I was in it. But if she could have watched like a musical form, a series of a good breaking, I think that would have been a nice thing to happen to Taekwondo.
And I think that's what like sport karate could do as well. And I think that's, to me, is something that several tournaments have done that. It's been exciting, but imagine if you have TV with that, right? And you get to follow those teams around and like that's cool, you know, to see that. But
and then have an all around, someone who did the best out of all 5 categories. Some, you know what I mean? Like gymnastics does.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, but I do agree. I think it could go either way on the kata part. Like the kata part could pique an interest to see, okay, see, it worked for them. Maybe if we put ours in, but because yes, maybe the strength wise is one thing, but the kicks for WTA Taekwondo, they're straight up and they're completely different. The forms are shorter, but the kicking is something that you don't see in traditional kata. So I think that still adds a different element to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I really like the way that Taekwondo does theirs. At least the WTA does theirs. It's different than the ITF. ITF's completely different. But theirs is where you do 2 forms, and they're both pretty short, and then you do the average score of the 2. And I really like that system because you have to, now again, most of the forms are the same, but because there's not as many forms in that system, but you get to see the range of just their talent, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Sport Pumps is no joke. I mean, they're good, and they're training at high levels now. It's not, you know, but if you're winning at nationals or world championships in Sport Pumps, you're working hard. You're really doing something. So I mean, all the respect for them, but just aesthetically for me, watching the karate kata just boom. Maybe that's my background because I come from the open circuit, and that is a little closer to the open circuit. You know, I just think it's stronger. But I think there's a way. I think there is a movement in the United States and worldwide for Taekwondo to have Pumse in the Olympics as well. You know, we're worried. Our fighters are worried that, man, we might be moved completely out, and it just be especially during the pandemic, man, because they were still having 2,000 and 3,000 person competitions online. You know, so
that's true.
That's madness.
Wow.
So you brought up a couple things. You said, like, you know, like my grandmother would have watched, you know, like the all around, but she didn't really want to watch just the fighting. She watched it because I was in it, because it wasn't that user friendly to watch. It wasn't that appealing.
Right.
So that's kind of what I was thinking about. Like, well, is Pumse that appealing to watch? And for moments, I think it is. I think it really has to capture that explosiveness that kata has.
Right.
In order, and I feel like if it does, I mean, the whole world's going to have to get behind it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Right.
Well, for us, we'll have certain likes and dislikes when we watch a form, right? But to a person who doesn't know martial arts, a spectator that's just sitting in the stands at Olympic Games who knows nothing about the sport, which that's who the spectators are. They don't know that sport. They just got an Olympic ticket, so they're going to watch the sport.
Correct.
It looks cool. I mean, you know, like you know, Jeff was saying, the kicks are whap, and you know, it's exciting, and you know, so you could see a lot of interest aesthetically in watching a form from someone who's not going to look at it as critical as we would.
Right. That's a great point. You're right. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Well, and I think that's why people, if Waco ever gets into the Olympics, people really feel like it will be musical forms that will get in there, and maybe one of the kickboxing things or a continuous or something like that, you know?
Right.
Because we already have kata in there.
Well, so maybe, who knows what will happen with that. So,
well, that's a great point. This might be its one and only time.
Right. I don't think it should, but
I hope that's not it. I hope
so too. I hope that's not the case, but it kind of looks like that could be the case.
I think if enough people get on board and watch, you know, and the sport continues to go forward afterwards, I think it'll be all right. You never know with these things. The Olympics are wild. I mean, one of the oldest sports that's been around, wrestling, got cut back to only 6 weight classes now. So
well,
the original.
That was a compromise because they were trying to kick it out completely.
Exactly.
Because they were
insane.
Yeah. That's like kicking out track and field. Is it kick out wrestling?
They do want some parity. They do want to know that, smaller countries have possibilities. It's not just dominated by, a handful of countries that win all the time. That's what's been the saving grace for Taekwondo is, you're getting medals from Afghanistan, you're getting medals from Thailand, you're getting, these are countries that are in the mix. In the mix.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's been the other big news. It's just the different countries that are getting their first ever medal or even gold medal, and that's always like one of the biggest headlines you see.
All right.
I think I looked at the flag bearers and we had 12 Taekwondo flag bearers from the countries. So in other countries, it's huge. It's their sport.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, Alex, let's ask one more. And
I do have one more for both of you. So we're talking about the Olympics and we're talking about, what's going in, what's coming out, what it could be. If you had your choice and you could add in one sport and you could take one sport out of the Olympics, what would you do?
I don't have a clue on that one. I don't know what I would take anything out because I'm sure once you become an Olympic sport, the athletes we're getting to a certain level. I wouldn't want to take that from them. I wouldn't take that pinnacle from them. I don't know. I don't know what I'd add. I mean, I guess with the popularity of MMA, something like that could come in. But I'm not a huge fan. But I think if it was led by someone like Duke Rufus, who I know is trying to get MMA in the Olympics, I would trust that it would be honorable and fair and presented in a way. Maybe let Scott Coker get in there and try to bring MMA to the Olympics. He started Strike Force, and I think he took over Bellator.
He's doing
it won't be the same without Dana White.
School.
It won't be the same without Dana White trying to be the new Vince McMahon.
The knucklehead.
Exactly.
I'd see one championship actually doing a big because they're big in the Asian market and in Singapore, and they actually reach more countries and more people, I think. Well, not about no more countries, but maybe more people. So they, I think, have a good shot of doing something like that. And the way that they present theirs is that honorable type thing, and, they're just got on TNT, recently. So I know they'll be coming back and it'll be returning actually around this time, like 10 p.m. on Wednesday nights is when they will start returning once they get back. So,
but you have sports outside of our circle as well, right? Like racquetball that's been trying to get into the Olympics forever.
Years, yeah.
Bowling has been trying to get into the Olympic Games for.
That's why I phrased the question that way. Yeah. Like, what do you think?
There's so many.
Go in.
I mean, I'm glad that like skateboarding was in this year. For me, I'm a big fan of those type of sports, right? I would have loved to see
Tony Hawk is your homeboy.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big BMX fan, so I would have loved to see the freestyle side of that, involved. But or like the dirt, dirt BMX. I know they have the racetrack, the racing, which is insane, which is nuts. If you haven't watched that, go and watch that. But the dirt freestyle where they're doing the flips on the dirt is crazy. So I mean, I would love to see something like that. I don't know. The thing I would take out would be a winter sport. So I don't know.
I think we should be prepared for esports to make some type of move.
Yep,
I know that
you're so right.
The IOC is the International Olympic Committee has their eye on that. There's unfortunately the athletes go in just because they love what they're doing, but the organizers go in because they want to make money.
Yeah.
and esports is a huge market, huge market.
Right. Yeah. Brett Shumway says, "Can the horse dancing go?" And he says, "I guess it's called equestrian."
Dude, that's hilarious.
That's funny.
Good stuff, Brett.
Oh man.
Well, I got one. I was thinking, all right, speed walking can go. That can go. That can go yesterday.
I'm not a big fan. You're right.
Oh, that one can be gone. What I didn't understand is like, why do they wear such intense sporting gear? Well, in the name of what you're doing is walking. You can't bend your. I think that's what it is. You can't bend your knee because then it's not considered walking. It's just like all turning of the hips.
All hips.
I just feel like it just has to destroy your hips. Like it's just insane to me.
Right. And it's not like, like I busted my tail and I did this and look at what I accomplished. You accomplished the same thing my 2-year-old does. You were walking.
It's not exactly the same.
I know it's not
exactly the same.
But in the end, if you got to say like, yeah, I got a gold medal, what did you do? I was walking. It's not the same.
I get it.
Saying,
yeah.
And I'm a power lifter. It's not the same thing. I think what I would put in, would be amazing, should be a dunk contest.
Oh God.
I would put a slam dunk contest in. That would immediately be like one of the best things that people would watch.
Have you watched the 3-on-3? I mean, a dunk contest
I have not.
It's exciting. The 3-on-3.
I know. I got to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to watch that.
It's like pickup rules. It's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. See, in some ways, I think they should just keep that and then take the other out, especially since America's getting their butt whooped.
What?
No, I mean, it's just all right. But again, some sports have been taken out for years and come back. Why can't some? If they're going to do it, swap in and swap out. If you're going to get 3-on-3 this year, then the other one goes out. Then you come back. I don't know, but I don't like how some sports stay in forever and some who are just as popular, don't get to. And again, I know it's the parody.
Right. Or popular in a different way, right? Popular in a different way. Taekwondo is practiced by millions and millions and millions of people, but we're not, mainstream in countries like the United States or,
correct,
even Europe. Even though every other country seems to, martial arts and Taekwondo have made more of a mainstream effort. Like GB, once in Great Britain, once they won a couple gold medals, I mean, it just became huge. In Mexico, they won some gold medals. Man, it just blew up. U.S., we still, I think, because of the professional sports in this country, it's just really hard for for a sport like Taekwondo to break through.
Wow. Okay. So I got a different question. I didn't really think about that. So do you think, like, for the advancement of a sport in the Olympics, do you think if the U.S. winning all those sports, do you think that kind of hinders it worldwide? Like, rather than if a different country like Honduras wins?
Well, I mean, in my experience and what I've been kind of told about the process, in order for the United States to get behind a new sport being brought into the games, they have to have a chance to medal. They don't want to add sports that they don't have a chance medaling at. So it would have to be a sport that, they feel, or at least have enough time. Like leading up until LA 2028, they feel, I mean, they are driven. They're putting tons of funds into making sure that we are ready to dominate in 2028. So, that's one of the perks that getting the game so far out, we can really develop someone from now until 2028, from when we got it till 2028. But I think you've got to have initially the U.S. behind any new sport that's coming in. They just yield so much weight within the
media,
international political situation. You got to have them behind you.
And definitely the TV. I mean, I feel like is one of the the media and everything. I mean, again, we've had
NBC
baseball in and out.
NBC.
Yeah. I mean, baseball, softball in and out. so many times.
Okay. All right. You can win. Lisa, do you want to wave? You don't want. Well, yeah. If you're gonna be here, you got to wave. Right.
There you go.
Give me a hug.
Hey, girl.
Okay.
Dad.
All right. Good night.
Oh man, good stuff. But yeah, so Arlene, I mean, I love all the introspective and just the inside scoop on the Olympics and the sport of Taekwondo and just the other stuff too. So thank you so much for bringing that to us today. And again, guys, share the show, comment if you watch it later on. Ask some questions. Arlene follows our page and follows us. She'll answer some stuff as well. So thank you so much for coming on again the second time. And I think we actually talked about different stuff too.
Absolutely.
Great,
well, I mean,
great.
Jeff, you got to think about it, the first show was really just Arlene's story, where she came from, how it all came to be, and of course the gold medal. That was a part of the show. But this one, Arlene, I really loved just the backstory of how the inner workings of just being in and around the Olympics. Yeah, it's fantastic because none of us are going to know that.
Right. We may show up sometime. So.
Well, you're going to come up with a sport, Alex, that gets put into the Olympics, and you might be there.
I say Uno.
Maybe we all get ready to do a really cool broadcast from the LA 2028, and that's how we connect.
There we go. There we go.
Now you're either onto something or you're on something. Because I like that.
Yes,
I like that a lot.
Oh man, wow. I love it. Well, thank you, Arlene. You have a great night,
all right, guys. Peace. Go USA.
Yes. USA.
Oh man. So that was awesome.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So. Yeah, Arlene, if you want to step out, you can. Jeff and I are going to continue on.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
See if I can log out.
So there are so many things like that, like behind the scenes
that we didn't even think about. Yeah,
we didn't think about. I really can't stand the scoring. It changes the whole thing of it, though.
Right.
But I was almost discouraged when I was asking, like, do you see us going back to the buzzer system where a guy's got a red buzzer and a blue buzzer? I was a little bummed out when she was like, no, probably not going to go back to that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could get into a judge's pocket like that.
Well,
I guess it doesn't surprise me.
No, it's not surprising.
It's not surprising, but it's kind of, it's a bummer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like for me, like I love to get more involved in watching it and understanding it more. For some reason, I just haven't, I don't know if it's just maybe the style or we're busy, just staying focused on sport karate. Who knows? But interested to see where it goes from here because apparently it seems like there's a lot of change going on with USA Taekwondo and just Taekwondo in general with the scoring. Again, she even talked about the forms. And I'm interested just to see that, that happen.
Right.
Again, another one actually that we didn't mention that I know is IOC recognized is Wushu. And that is one as well that I think for forms could probably steal the show.
Of course.
Yeah. So
people are going to look at that and be like, these guys are actually flying.
Especially if they do their self-defense division.
Oh my gosh.
The spear and the grudge school.
Dude, it's going to look cooler and I love the karate self-defense division. I love it, but it's going to look cooler. It's going to look cooler, right?
And that's things too. I wish that was in there as well. The karate self-defense division would be awesome.
Right.
So
it's going to be like the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where they're flying and fighting each other in the air.
Right. Brett makes a good point too. TKD needs better commentary for the Olympics. Even as a fighter, he was lost to what was being said. Again, I think some of it just you gotta just explain things more, especially to that audience,
But it's hard because you have to do so much explaining. And this is why, because when you look at that, the person commentating knows a general person looking at this is going to go, what the hell are these guys doing?
Right.
What are they doing?
Right.
Like, oh, I get that they're just trying to kick each other, but what is this?
Yeah.
And you have to do so much explaining just to get to that. Whereas, and it's like beating a dead horse, you go back to the scoring system of yesteryears. It's just, guys, go back. Watch the 2008 gold medal final, right? It's you get giants fighting each other. Yeah. It's amazing.
Well, I even feel the same way with fencing because I watch some of that, and
that's okay. It's not a bad analogy.
It's the kind of the same thing. It's like, all right, I mean, I think they got it first because they yelled louder and feel confident, but I don't know, and it doesn't seem like, honestly, watching fencing, I was thinking of point fighting, of how there was no more blocking at all, right?
There's no
such thing as blocking. Let's get there first, and that's it. And I think that is an issue that we see in sport karate. And I think if sport karate goes to a censor type thing, which some people want, I think that's going to be the exact same thing.
It'll be the death.
Yep. I know some people want it, and I think there's some good things. I think it could be a separate division, but I don't think it can replace what we do with point fighting.
No, I mean, if you go back and you look at point fighting in the 90s, guys could just put their rear hand up to the face and have the axe kick smack them in the hand. And we all looked at that and said, that's a block. He put his hand up, and the foot hit his hand, and his hand hit his face. And nobody would give that a point. Today, 5 out of 5 give that a point.
Well, see, I feel like even if there was a sensor on the headgear, that I know it's supposed to touch, but I feel like the impact would cause enough to maybe create. And I don't know all the science and everything in the electronics, but I feel like it would. So that was something just from watching Olympics, thinking about that. Again, see, Arlene and I think the same way. I watching the Olympics and the gymnastics, I've thought that for years that we need something like that in sport karate. An all-around competition of forms, weapons, fighting, breaking, or forms, weapons, fighting, traditional. I don't know, or forms, weapons, fighting. I don't know, self-defense. Something like that for apparatuses. That was one of the things that I had thought about with the Ironman division. And I think that's something that would be really cool to see that, and then have the other select ones. Of course, it's a long way to get there. I don't see that happening with WACO because most of the people that do forms do not fight, and most of the fighters don't even come from a forms background. So that's kind of I feel like something in NASCAR, NBL, or WKC or WKU, someone like that would have those athletes.
Well, what if just at a World Championships there was an extra?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, not a World Championships. I shouldn't say that. If let's say Grand Slam, Open.
Did something. Yeah.
There's just, all right, whoever gets the highest, it's just going to be like a point system in your form.
And a lot of tournaments do that. I know there's a tournament. Yeah. I've done that before, but a lot of it's based off of who competes in the most divisions, right? And that's one of the issues on that. A tournament in North Carolina a few years ago did where it was like, all right, you pick 3 people, and they have to do one of this, and their highest ranking in each one of those categories their points go towards that, right? So essentially, if you got 4 first places, 1 in each of those categories, and everyone did, then you're going to win that. But again, that's hard to do because again, I may get 4 forms first places, but only 1 of my forms count, right? I may get, second all my weapons, so the second would count. I get first in traditional, and then I get a fighting division, and maybe get first. So it could kind of go back and forth that way. So that was a cool way to do it, but it was a team type thing instead of just individual. Now I've done ones before, again, like where I said when I won the motorcycle, and then at Corky Sykes tournament one year, where it was like an extra $500 onto the grands. Whoever won the most, not necessarily the most division, but the most total points, right? So
you were saying that you did 22 divisions?
Yeah. Well, I competed 22 times. I think I did 15 divisions or something like that. So that's like 3 forms, and then I tied once or twice.
Were you putting on a blue belt and going out there and do that too?
No, because I mean, there's 14 really within NBL. It was using NBL type division, so there was those options. Continuous fighting, point fighting, team fighting, Kimpo, traditional soft, open soft weapons.
Did you do Kimpo and soft style?
Yeah, I did every single division I could. And because, I was going against a senior competitor who could do even more divisions than me. And he was doing those 14 and then plus the 35 plus and the 45 plus.
Oh, wow.
And the others. So really, he did more divisions than me. And I saw him this past weekend at the tournament I was at. Forgot to tell you about that. I had a tournament over the weekend.
He was like, "You took my motorcycle."
And he still talked about, because he stopped.
I would too.
He never competed again after that. He was like, yeah, that was pretty much the death of me. It was like competing.
Wow.
But he came out as like 40-something years old, ended up winning the overall fighting grand. I mean, he had a good time, but he wanted that motorcycle. So I got to see him this weekend. So it was a good time. Saw John Chung this weekend at the tournament in Danville. And, it was a long day, but, it was fun seeing just the sport in our area back. Again, probably very close to 400 competitors. So it was great to see in a small town area, Danville, Virginia. So it was a lot of fun. Got to compete.
You won the Form Grand.
Yeah, I won the weapons and forms grand. It was just one grand. So I won Korean. I won first place on one divisions, forms fighting and weapons. So, and then won that. So it was a lot of fun. And I think it was Malik Green. So in the fighting grands, it was myself and then 4 Green brothers, so or cousins. Yeah, they're all one family. They were all in there. They won all the other divisions, and then myself won the super light.
Dude, they'd be pissed. You beat the entire family.
If that would have happened, yeah. So that would have been interesting.
Wow.
So yeah. So it was interesting doing that. Also, another thing at the tournament was there was cameras for the Discovery Channel. So they're looking at possibly doing a reality type show with a team that was there from North Carolina. So interested to see what happens with that. And but yeah. So busy, a great weekend. Just in sport karate, and again, I went back the next day and working on moving stuff out of the attic.
Wow. Yo, I got a question just because you brought it up. If the Discovery Channel could follow any team, and then we got to watch it back on TV for the entertainment value, what team should they follow?
Of all time?
Just like right now, maybe.
Right now.
Well, let's answer both of those questions right now.
I'd still probably say All-Star.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I'd have to say All-Star.
Yeah.
Just the array of personalities and also the work ethic, and just all the different stuff that they all have going on individually. They all live different lives, but have really just exciting things going on, right? And they're all fun people to hang out with. So I think it would be great.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah, all time. I mean, from my experience, of course, I would say, man, if they ever had a reality show of what all was going on with CJB and Elite, that would have been crazy. But I kind of have to say, like, WKF back in or Miami Vice. Maybe that's what I'm going to say. Maybe Miami Vice, or that 97 to 2000 group of maybe just Alex and Manny back in 2000.
Yo, you're right.
And the Brady, when the Brady's were with them. I mean,
yeah. And even then, with Ray Mendoza on the team and Steve Hart was always a full range of characters.
Yeah.
I'd want to see that.
Yeah.
That would be
cool. And Arlene says the Budweiser team.
The Budweiser team would be. I was thinking about the transatlantic team.
Yeah. I definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's so many, man. There's a lot of. I mean, I think karate teams in general are just full of exciting people. And what's cool is that we bring people from different areas, right? And that's something that I'll never forget, is just being a part of a team that had people from New York, Maryland, you know, the West Coast, the South, you know, people from completely different areas, cultures, beliefs, everything, and coming together and being a unit and being a team from Canada, other countries, Europe. I mean, just amazing. And that's what real martial arts should be about, is bringing people together, not splitting people up. So
people do some funny stuff too.
Yes, they do. I love all the prank wars and stuff that have happened in sport karate.
The Reyes might be the best at the prank wars.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, man. They do some crazy stuff.
No, I take my team back. I think all time, I think it might have to be any straight up team with Kyle Richards on it. Any straight up team with Kyle Richards, because that dude is hilarious.
Oh man. Oh well.
Because he'd also have like Vince Johnson there too. It would have been at the same time, right? Look at that. It's all.
What a crazy time, crazy era.
Right,
man.
And I think Ray was still on the team.
Yeah, he was.
Look at that. That's the best one all time. That's it right there.
Oh man. Well, this has been fun.
Oh, of course it has. This
definitely. Thank you so much, Arlene, for joining us.
Yeah.
And guys, check us out tomorrow morning. If you only got to watch a little bit of it, go back and listen to it. Even if you got to watch it, like it sounds different, and you hear different things when you listen to it the next day. So I know I do.
Yeah, watch the video. Jeff looks prettier that way.
Funny.
This has been another episode of Inside the Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week, and thank you, Virtual Fight Tour.